Welcome back for another video. So right now I'm going to hook this grow bed back up to my pond so I can get it up and running so I can have stuff growing. So I got this filter over here that I was going to use on something else, but I haven't used it on it. I got it off of Amazon for like $100. I'll post a link in the description if you want to check it out. But I'll hook it up onto this grow bed and see how it does. It should catch a good amount of gunk. Pretty much it only has sponges in there and then a UV light, which I won't use, but I'll hook it up over here, which is where I had a previous filter that I built. And then I'm going to have it overflow from this filter into some filter socks. So let's get to it. Here's the box that the filter comes in. You can see how the filter looks on this picture. I'll take it out in a sec, but pretty much on the inside of it, you have all these sponges in here, which I can open up and show better. But then otherwise, to clean it out, all you gotta do is crank this handle and it basically squeezes all the sponges. And then also comes with a UV light, which if you're gonna be setting this up on a smaller pond, then you can use that UV light to keep the pond clear. There's different size filters you can get based on what size pond you wanna do. They're all pretty much the same concept, with a UV light and then a crank to basically clean out the sponges in there. Otherwise, the filter comes with different parts for depending on how you want to hook it up. And then here is the filter itself. Here's how the filter looks. It's completely made out of plastic. The clamp is made out of plastic. All this is out of plastic. So up here, as I mentioned, this is the handle that you'll use to clean it out. It's got sponges going down through here and then a mechanism that when you turn it, it squeezes all the sponges. Right here, you have a UV light, which I'm not going to use. So if you want to use it, you do plug it in with a decently long cable, and then the UV light, what it will do is it will kill the single self-floating algae, so keep your pond clear. It won't kill the algae that's growing on the surfaces of the pond, just the floating algae, so you can see the fish and everything. All I'm going to be using is a sponge system on it, because I don't need a UV light for my pond over there. Or if I do use one, I'll have a bigger one, since this is too small for my pond. It's just to prevent gunk from getting into this grow bed, because I don't want gunk in the media. It makes it harder to clean out. To open it up, it is super simple. To get the sponges, you just unclasp this and then you can pull it up, which I'll do in a sec. And then to get to the UV light, which you'll have to replace once in a while, is you just take out these 4 screws and pull it out. It also has a gasket around there as well. Here's all the different parts it comes with based on what size hosing you want to put on here. So a good variety. Also the gaskets, you want to make sure to put those on so that you don't leak. And then here's the base or the bottom. It has a gasket around here as well. So if it's leaking out of this area, then this gasket has failed. And that's how it looks on the inside. If you get a bigger filter, most of the time they'll have bio balls at the bottom for extra surface area for the bacteria to grow on. Here's the main filtration itself. You have the sponges. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And then the cleaning mechanism is this guy right here. So as you spin this guy rotates, causing all the sponges to go in a circle, and then it basically squeezes all the gunk off when you do the backwashing mechanism. This right here is for when you do the backwashing. Depending on which direction you point it is where the water is going to come. So right now the water will enter through here and then come out through here, which is filtration. When you want to clean it, you'll turn this guy that direction, and then when you crank it, the water goes out here, so you can have a hose go to your garden or whatnot. All the dirty gunk will go out of there. This is where the UV light is in. You can see it's protected in there, and then the UV light comes over here in this glass sleeve. So you don't want to crack this or anything, and if water gets into all this mechanism, it's going to malfunction. But you got a UV light in there, and as I mentioned, this is going to keep your pond clear. Majority of the time, all you're going to need to do to clean it is just to crank this handle and backwash it, which is going to clean out these sponges. But eventually they will deteriorate, and then to change those, all you got to do is open up the filter, and then it's just a matter of taking these screws out, so you can take this out and get some replacement sponges. Otherwise, these sponges will last a good amount of time depending on how dirty your pond gets. I have the filter all set up, so I'll leave it here for a month and see how much gunk it catches. Otherwise, the water does come in through here into the filter and then back out into these filter socks. The only problem is they get filled up so quickly because the filter socks are pretty fine, so it just overflows, which kind of defeats the purpose. So I got to figure out how to either set them up better. I just moved this one and now it's draining differently. Maybe if I do the same thing. Otherwise, I got to figure out how to clean them quickly so I can catch all the fine gunk, because I don't really want anything in the media grow bed. Otherwise, the setup is pretty simple. Luckily, I was able to attach these to this filter because the threads on here aren't exactly the same. For some reason, these fit, but like other 1-inch PVC with threads did not fit on there. Otherwise, you can use these, which is the part that it comes with, and then just attach it to a hose, and then from here to whatever kind of threaded piece works. You do want to have a cap or a valve on the outflow over here, So it comes with a cap like this, which you can just stick on there, but over time, eventually this gasket that's in here will fail and the water will leak out here. For me, it's not gonna matter, it's just gonna leak back into the system. But if you have this set up on a pond and it starts to leak, it could drain the whole system. I don't think, it shouldn't be leaking anything now. Yeah, because it's new, so there shouldn't be any problems. But it's good to have a valve there. That's also for the backwashing and so forth. But that's pretty much how the filter's set up. As I mentioned, I'll leave it here for a month and open it up and see how much gunk it catches. The plan was to clean this filter out in a month, but it's been 3 months, and the other day I noticed that the water wasn't flowing through here. It is off right now because I don't know how long it wasn't flowing, so I don't want the gunk to come into here if it's all anaerobic activity. But basically, I have the water coming in here pretty slowly. The other day, and as I mentioned, I noticed that there wasn't any water flowing out here. So I'm pretty sure this thing is completely clogged up. When I do turn this on, it will flush a bunch of water through there, and then a bunch of gunk will start to come out. So it's about time I open this up and clean it out. Typically, the easiest way is to just attach a hose, turn the valve, and then backwash it. But I want to see how much gunk is in here, and we're going to open it up and just see how much gunk those sponges caught. The reason why the water stopped flowing is because I have this open at a small amount so that these filter socks can catch gunk, because when the water's coming through here too fast, they just overflow. So in order to catch extra gunk before it enters into my media grow bed, I have the water going slowly. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these, but still with 5 of them, they just start to overflow, which completely defeats the purpose of having them. I'm going to upgrade this later on, this kind of setup, but it works temporary as it is for now. You can see how much gunk this thing has captured. I'm assuming because I have the water going in here slower, it catches a lot more, but that is a lot of gunk. The whole thing is just caked. All the sponges. So you can see that's just nasty. And that's all that I'm preventing from getting into that grow bed. Sponges used to be yellow and blue, so they're just caked in there. My goodness. So that worked pretty well. So I'm gonna wipe this down, or spray this down with a hose and then get it back up and running again. Ideally, if you do take the filter apart and clean the sponges like this, you do want to use water from your pond just so you don't kill the beneficial bacteria, because the chlorine in the water will kill that. For my pond, it doesn't really matter since I have a bunch of media everywhere that has a bunch of beneficial bacteria on it, so I have plenty in the system that it doesn't matter if I clean this with water from the tap. The sponge is all nice and clean, back to their original color. So pretty simple to clean. Ideally, you want to, as I mentioned, just backwash it. If you do that once every 2 weeks or once every month, depending on how dirty your pond is or how many fish you have. For mine, definitely once every 2 weeks. So I got to set it up where my hose goes out and I can just backwash it. But otherwise, it works well. That's good as new. Just gotta turn the pump back on. We'll have it running, have the water coming in slower into this thing. So that's probably why it caught so much gunk, just because the water's going so slow into here. It doesn't really stir up anything in there, but that worked pretty well. These do catch a bunch. What I do to clean them is I just take them out of here and then I have water in a bucket and just rinse them around. They do all right. They still do overclog and then overflow. So I'm gonna build something better for that. But otherwise, this filter works well. As I mentioned, it does have a UV light, so if you need that for your pond, it'll keep your pond crystal clear. I'm definitely gonna have to put a hose here that goes out the greenhouse, and then I just can crank it, which makes it easier to clean. Doesn't take too long to open this up and clean it all, but it is a longer process. That you would want to do like once a month, maybe, I mean, not the opening it up maybe every 6 months, and then the backwash once a month or once every 2 weeks, depending on how many fish you have in the pond. All in all, it works well. Fill this all up and running again. Got the water going slower into these guys. These two will definitely catch a lot more. I gotta adjust it a little. Then these will overflow more, but the filter works well. So if you're gonna be setting up a small pond and want a filter that's easy to clean, easy to set up, has a UV light, this would be a good one to go with. It catches a good amount of gunk and will do a good job. Well, that about sums up this video. If you like this one, remember to check out one of my other ones up here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.